Okay, let's begin again from the beginning of the fifth parak. Gadish shalei luket tachtov. If you make a pile of grain in a place that the aniyim did not yet get a chance to pick up the leket that had fallen underneath, so then you have a problem because there's some leket in the bottom of your pile and you don't know how much. So the Mishnah says, well, we have a simple advice. Just say, Kol negeib aretz hareu shel aniyim. Leave the bottom layer of the pile that's touching the ground for the aniyim, and just take everything else, and that way you for sure covered it, and the aniyim will be able to keep the leket. Haruach shepazres amurim. If the wind scatters the bundles that you gathered, so now you have a bigger problem because your mess is much bigger, and you don't know where the leket is and where the stuff you harvested is. So umdun also kama leket hiru ilasis. So the Tanna says you make a individual assessment based on the field, how much leket you think you would have dropped. V'noisen l'aniyim, you give to the aniyim whatever that is. Rishim Gamliel says noisen l'aniyim k'dei nefila, you give aniyim the formula amount of how much normally falls, which is 1/45. Second Mishnah. Shiboilas shibekatzer, if you have a stalk of grain in the part of the field you already harvested, v'roisha megila kama, and the top edge of it, if you bend it over, you could pull it back to you could pull it towards the grain you have not harvested yet. So is that considered left behind and shikcha, or is that just something you haven't gotten around to harvested yet, and it's the field in front of you? So the Mishnah says, Harehi shel balabayis. Im nixer im kama. If it's close enough that you could harvest it together in one swoop, together with what hasn't yet been harvested, then Harehi shel balabayis, then you view it as just part of the not yet harvested field, and it goes to the balabayis. The imlav, and if not, Harehi shel aniyim, then it goes to the aniyim. Shiboila shel leket, back to our leket mixtures, you have a single stalk of leket. Shinzarav begadish, that got somewhere mixed into your pile, and now you don't know that it's specifically on the bottom or where it is. So you don't want to give the whole pile to the ani. So what do? Meiser shibolas echav b'neisin lois. The first Tanna says just take one stalk, take off meiser because it might be one of your stalks and obligated in meiser, and give it to the ani and tell him, here, this is instead of your leket, which is somewhere in my pile. Rabbi Eliezer said, how does the ani have a right to exchange that leket stalk somewhere in the pile? It was never in his possession, so he doesn't have the ability to exchange it to you. It never became his. Ella, what do? Mizakes ani b'kol hagadish. You tell the ani, I'm going to give you rights to the whole pile, on condition you give it back. The rest back. And then you could take any one stalk and give meiser, and if Naisman give it to him, and he'll give back the whole gadish, and you'll have now exchanged that one stalk that's his with the one stalk you give him. Okay. Then we have Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Gimel has two completely different ways to read it, so we'll do them one at a time. Ein megalgalin betofik. Right, so these words have two possible translations that mean completely different things. Ein megalgalin betofik could mean you can't deal with. Tofech is some sort of legume, maybe a grass pea or something like that. So it's a crop of inferior value that's more slippery. So you can't grow that together with a more valuable crop, because if you do, everything that's going to fall is going to be this stuff, the less valuable stuff. And the aniyim are going to lose out. Divrei Reb Meir. Those are the words of Reb Meir. B'cham matir, the Chum say, no, you could. Because it's possible that some of the good stuff will fall. Just because you have worse stuff that's more slippery doesn't mean that that's what's going to fall. Maybe the better stuff will fall. That's one way to read the Mishnah. The other way to read the Mishnah is ein megalgalin. You can't roll, as in use a water wheel, but taifech with moisture. So you can't flood your field, basically, at the time of the harvest, because if you do that, anything that falls is going to fall in the mud and get ruined, and the aniyim aren't going to get the leket, divrei Meir. The Chum matir, and the Chum say, no, you could do it if you want to, because there's another possibility. You could give the aniyim just 1/24th, to a 45th, and that will cover the leket that gets lost. Okay. jury is out on what the proper reading of the Mishnah is. And finally, Mishnah Daled. You have a person who has money, but he's traveling and he doesn't have any money on him, and he needs something to eat. So he needs to take Leket shiur Peah because he's hungry. He doesn't have any cash on him as much as he has money at home. That doesn't really help him when he's on the road. Or Meiser Ani. So he is considered poor because he has a need. So he's allowed to take. And the first Tanna says, but when he gets home and he has access to his money again, he should pay back whatever he took. He should give to the local aniyim when he gets home. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, that's Rabbi Eliezer. And the Chacham say, no, Ani Hayab he was poor then. Just like if the poor person becomes wealthy later, he doesn't have to pay back any charity he got. So this guy, at the time when he took it, it was justifiable for him to take this Leket shiur Peah, so he could take it and he doesn't have to pay it back. Okay, we'll stop here.